All I do is work. Hey, don't judge me. Don't judge me, Islands. I see you looking at me, Islands. Don't judge my wine. Don't judge my wine. Hey, all you do is work, huh? No, not all you should do is work. But if you want to know how to turn your hobby into a side hustle, because you're not just trying to work all day, you're actually trying to monetize. Is that the word? Okay, are we editing or they're just going to embarrass me on YouTube? They're doing that. They're going to embarrass me. Judge my editors. So if you're trying to monetize your passion, we're going to talk about that in this video. As always, I got the big money team with me. Woo, woo. Kelly Lawson, Director of Operations, Cheryl Parks, Lead Coach and Trainer, and we're going to talk about how to monetize your hobby and turn it into a side hustle. Every day I'm hustling. I told them not to play that because I said I wasn't ratchet, but clearly I'm still going to sing the verse for you. All right.
I think one of the most important things you can do if you're trying to turn your hobby into a side hustle is you need to explore the market. Like if you have a side hustle, take a look and see if it's something you can monetize, first of all. Are people willing to pay for it? Or is it just your passion and it's not something that they see value in? Right. So that's the first thing. And the second thing I would say is assess your strengths and opportunities, right? Yeah. So like just, I know what my strengths are. I mentioned to you earlier that I took some coding. I did a coding boot camp. Right. I'm not a coder. I realized that. So understand what your strengths are and then look for your challenges and overcome your challenges while you grow your strengths. Just strengthen your bench.
If we were going to look at passion for a second and identifying your strengths, any suggestions for exercises or best practices to identify strengths? We work with a lot of women entrepreneurs in the big money movement, and I find that for many individuals coming from corporate, they've been told who to be for so long and they've been told what to do for so long that all of a sudden when they're empowered with choice overwhelms them. So do you all have suggestions on how to find your passion, potentially?
Just look at what you spend the most of your time doing, or what you tend to gravitate to first. A lot of times you do the things that come easy and smoothly first. And so I definitely think you should zone in there to see what's there. Why am I spending so much time in this spreadsheet and avoiding having the conversations? Or why am I having all the conversations and avoiding organization? And so I think if we just lean in there, that can give you a clue into what lights you up and what you could possibly turn into a side hustle.
I think that's a mic drop moment. Yeah. We work with a lot of high achieving women and we lean into struggle. We're looking for mountains to scale. We're like, oh, that's too easy. That's not it. Let me go find a struggle bus to get on. You know what I mean? We're always looking for a struggle or a challenge. And the book Essentialism by Greg McKeown is one of my favorites. And I know for me, that was an aha moment when I read the book, was it's the disciplined pursuit of less and it's leaning into ease. Yes. And it's crazy how that thought process was disruptive for me. I'm like, wait, do what's easy for me? That's okay. Right. So I love that. What are your thoughts, Cheryl?
Yeah, I think you're right. I think it has to do with our training. So always assessing how you were raised. So I was raised in a household with an entrepreneur and a nurse. And so I got a lot of the service desire from the nursing side. But back in the day, entrepreneurship was about struggle, working hard, digging ditches.
Is it not anymore?
Well, it's a different kind of digging ditch. It's a different kind of digging ditches now.
It's still a ditch, though.
It is, yeah. But I can remember just thinking that it had to be hard when I first started. Yeah. And then I'm like, where'd you get this from? And I had to take a look back to see, what are the outside influences that, really came through. But, yeah.
Makes me think. I think it always makes me think of a book. So that makes me think. Don Miguel Ruiz, The Four Agreements. The agreements we've made for ourselves or with ourselves. And oftentimes we've made agreements from other people's programming. Yep. And that's what I'm hearing for you is you had the awareness of, wait a second, I'm operating off of a programming or belief system that doesn't even really come from me. Right. That's powerful.
That's exactly it. And so you just have to dig deep and remember that you're just doing some work for yourself and you're not looking for flaws. You're not, don't go down that path. You're just doing work with yourself. Yeah. And that is critical to turning your side hustle or turning your hobby into a side hustle.
I love it. So we talked about passion, your strengths, leaning into ease. Kelly, you want to talk about money, profit. Let's talk about where the money resides.
Yes, and I think it's interesting that some, like we think people are trying to leave and escape corporate America and leave, but some people are really lit up by what they're doing in corporate America, but their motivation for wanting to turn their hobby into a side hustle is for the freedom and flexibility that entrepreneurship can bring. And so I definitely think it's important to monetize your hobby. So like if sewing or knitting or deep water diving is your thing, and just like let's think of ways that you can do what you want to do, get the freedom and flexibility, and monetize that and turn it into a real business.
I think there's a distinct opportunity in today's day and age. So my dad is now on the spot, y'all gonna see how long it takes for me to add up his years of life. I think there's 78. There's many of them. No judgment. There's no ageism happening here on the set.
Yes.
So he's 78, and he talks about growing up in the 40s on the south side of Chicago. And he talks about at that time, as a business owner, you had to operate based off of the needs in your community, right? There was no online world. If you lived in a community and folks didn't care about deep sea diving in Chicago, you best find something else that they're interested in your community. And the beauty of the digital age is now we literally have a global ecosystem, right? And so whatever you're passionate about, even if you can't find them physically around you, you can bet somebody in this world is interested in what you're interested in. And so it's really leaning into digital and finding your community of people to tap into. I think that's an amazing opportunity right now. And I think the magic, David C. Baker, y'all get y'all book list out, go to your local library, get your library card. But David C. Baker in the book, The Business of Expertise, one of the things he talks about is that the privilege of being able to overlap your passion and profit. Like that's not a privilege that everyone is allowed, right? Sometimes you're passionate about something and you can't figure out how to monetize it. But when you have the blend of the two, is that the Venn diagram? What's the one where you have the two circles and it's the juicy part in the middle? Look at me, great school. So like that Venn diagram, when you look at like your passion and how you can add value to the marketplace or where there's need in the marketplace. And if you can find that overlap, that's such a sweet spot because then you get to do the work that you love and to earn money doing it through a side hustle. But I also think it's important to say, just because you're passionate about something doesn't mean every day of your side hustle is going to be enjoyable. Like anytime you monetize something, you have to do right by your clients. You have to be communicative. You have to market yourself. You have to put yourself out there. You have to sell. You have to do transactions. So even though we're leaning into ease and passion, prepare yourself for the fact that there's still going to be other skill sets and challenges that you're going to have to face.
Even your selection of who you worked for. I mean, when we were talking about bad leadership, and you were determined, from what I can tell, to not get into another scenario.
Kelly, I like that you're a proponent of us giving ourselves permission to evolve. And I think you have an interesting story. And I know for us, many of our clients are like, Kelly, you're director of opera. Everyone loves you. They're like, Kelly, how'd you get Kelly? I'm like, Kelly didn't wake up like this. Do you mind sharing your story of like your evolution from like hobby, side hustle, passion to this, look at your posture, to like this position, the authority.
Yes, it's interesting because when I graduated college, I went to college to be an English major, and I thought all I wanted to do was write, and writing lit me up. But when I graduated and I started writing, I'm like, oh, I can't do this all day. I can't do this for work. Like, I want to do this when I want to. And so I just want to encourage entrepreneurs to know that, like, the first thing that you think you want to jump out and monetize and turn your hobby into a side hustle might not be the thing, and it's okay to pivot. And so that's when I decided, like, oh, I'm really good at writing, but I also love the boardroom experience. I love to support entrepreneurs. I love to have conversations about money and business growth and trajectory. Trajectory. And that's what ended up landing and sticking, and I can't see myself doing anything else. But it came from that, like, just jumping out there and thinking that I wanted to do one thing, and then another thing ended up lighting me up. So
I love it. It makes me think of TD Jakes, where he talks about if you want to find your passion, if you want to find your purpose, follow your passion, and eventually you'll find it. And I think it's breadcrumbs. I think it's, in life, I feel like the greatest lessons come from surrendering to the process and the journey. Like, all right, I open one door. All right, that door leads me to the next one. And then hopefully I journey to a life fulfilled.
Yes, I love it.
I love this conversation. If you love this conversation and you want to continue making big money moves with us, click on the next video. We're going to dive deeper into goal setting so that you can grow your entrepreneurial mindset and your leadership skill sets. I'll see you then. Click, click, click. Clink, clink, clink. Clink, 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 clink.